My name is Nicole Faccio, and I am 29 years old. I was born in the land that also gave birth to Despacito, better known as San Juan, Puerto Rico. And this is where my story starts. I was born with visible signs of lymphedema in my left arm, but it wasn't as easy as getting a diagnosis at the moment of birth. In fact, it took 9 months for my parents to finally get a proper diagnosis. After months of research, countless visits to doctors, digging up in journals in the library back then, traveling around the country, a fair share of misdiagnoses such as you probably had your umbilical cord wrapped around your arm and that stopped the blood flow on your left arm during pregnancy. Hours of getting medical examinations to rule out all these clever theories that people came up with, and probably multiple heart attacks I haven't been told of. I was finally diagnosed with lymphatic malformations in my whole body in the Boston Children's Hospital that had developed lymphedema in both of my legs, my abdomen, my left arm, and my face. I probably caused a couple of heart attacks to doctors as well, as I am a walking case study, and most of them haven't seen a lymphedema patient in their lives. I want to take a couple of steps back and explain you what was going through my mind as I watched for years my lymphedema deteriorating, my body getting worse, my legs not fitting my already oversized pants, my feet not fitting my already oversized shoes, my abdomen getting bigger. I was witnessing firsthand my biggest fear, getting to the end of my useful life. The fear of not being functional. I bet that there's a couple of people here that can agree with me in that statement. And so I want to call on stage Jennifer Russell and Grace Gaylord to stage because I want them to tell a little bit about their stories too, as they are as important as mine.
Well, Nicole's making me cry a little bit. So I'm Grace Gaylord. I'm 28 years old. I'm living and thriving in New York City as well with lymphedema. I work as an arts administrator at the Juilliard School. And quickly, my lymphedema story started at age 13. I have primary lymphedema in both of my legs from the knee down. The symptoms appeared out of the blue one day. No reason, and I'm lucky to say that within a few months, roughly, I was able to find a lymphedema specialist and effectively from day one received MLD, compression garments, night garments, and I think that's a huge success that 15 years later, you can barely tell that I have lymphedema. So, and I got to meet Nicole and Russ and Jen through all of this, so that's great.
I'm Jennifer. I'm a public school teacher. I teach art out in Queens. I've been doing it for 10 years. I can't imagine doing anything else in the world, even with all the germs. I was diagnosed 2 years after my onset of lymphedema, so I was 20 years old, and all the doctors looked at me like I had 7 heads when my leg was big, and said I can't tell you all the same things. I got quarantined the same way Nicole was quarantined. I mean, it's nice you get to go in a hospital room by yourself, but you're like, they put on these masks. And it took them 2 years for someone, literally a random woman in a store, to look at me and go, hey, do you have lymphedema? And I was like, no, wait, I don't know what that is. So advocacy and support and not being afraid to walk up to someone and just ask them how they're doing, and if they have the same thing as you, I have to say is huge. So thank you to all of the people that are here with us, supporting us, and we really appreciate every single one of you out there. Thank you.
Thank you, girls. So these people here, young professionals with years of useful, functional life in them, shouldn't be afraid. They represent part of the working class of this country, and they also represent the need for this country to have availability for treatment, affordable treatment, obtain garments, medical consultation, wound control, and for our insurances to cover this and recognize the word lymphedema. We shouldn't be forced to travel in search of quality of life. No one should be spending 3 years in search of appropriate help, neither spending their lifetime savings in a condition that is perpetual. Our country should be able to provide us with all this. And that is why I agreed to tell my story here today. Because if anything, I am a vivid example of what we are asking our leaders here for, and it does work. That appropriate course of treatment, education, and knowledge among the medical field can return years of functional and useful life to millions of people, like it did to me. Providing young patients like Emma and Connor with a manual of lessons learned. Provide new patients with hope. Hope that this community exists, that they are not alone, that they are acknowledged, and that they have a voice. Thank you, guys.